Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Commodity TV here in Zurich at the offices of Zurich Invest. And now we want to talk with TMAC Resources and the new president and CEO, Jason Neal. Welcome, Jason. First time at Commodity TV.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great for taking the time. You had some challenges in your company. Maybe you elaborate a bit on the mill problem?
Yes, sure. Yeah, we've had a lot of trouble starting up the mill, and so the performance there has not been great. And when we think about the gold that comes out of the operation, it's what's the throughput that goes through the mill, what's the grade that goes through the mill, and then what is the recovery. We've got the throughput where we need it to be, and that was the first challenge. Our COO, who came on in September, that was his first charge, and we got that stabilized by the end of the year. So that was at 1,000 tons per day on average. With the stability in throughput, what we've been able to do is tackle our second issue, which is recovery. We haven't been getting the recovery that was designed, quite a bit below that. And the stability in the mill allowed us to do the deportation studies to identify the issue. And really the biggest issue is we have an ore body that the ore has 70% free gold in it that should be recoverable through gravity. And the deportation studies identified that a high proportion of that free gold is actually fine grain gold. We have a mill that was designed to capture a coarser grain. And so the jigs up front, they love 2,000 micron gold, but under that, it was making it through. So the first thing we have is we have a machine called a Falcon coming in. Not an expensive machine at all. Embarrassingly little capital versus the value of the gold that is escaping us. And it is being installed today.
Great.
There will be a number of things that are going to have to go in to get the recoveries to where our target is. This should be the most significant individual step, we believe. And so this machine is designed to recover, 20 micron all the way up, but that there's a high proportion that 20 micron to 100 micron level, and this is what it's specifically designed for. So we're working through that. We will have, so if we have throughput licked and then we get recovery sorted out, the last piece of that equation is grade, and we've had outstanding reconciliation in the mine. We have a high-grade mine in Nunavut.
What are the grades when you say high grade?
Well, I will tell you that we're scalping some of the high grade and putting it in stockpile, so we don't put it through the mill yet, and that's everything that's above 20 grams, basically goes through. So we have an extraordinary ore body. Nunavut is 160 kilometers north of the Arctic Circle. The property has been explored remotely for 3 decades. If these were ore bodies that were further south and not so remotely located, they would have been mined long time ago. And so, I mean, that's why there's still high grade there for us. We're the first miner really of any significance in the region.
Okay, great. So that sounds to me like that you are overcoming the issues, you are solving that, or you have almost solved most of it. So let's come to the bright side of the business. 2018, then you can move on full throttle, right?
Exactly. So what we're doing is, at the same time as addressing the short-term challenges, we're building a team that is going to maximize the value of the belt. It's an 80-kilometer greenstone belt. Greenstone belts in Canada are prolific gold producers. And we've really just scratched the surface of ours, almost literally. The 3 deposits we have were identified because they're the 3 that outcrop. We have an inexhaustible number of targets on the property to pursue once we get going. And if you just think about the efficiency of it, once you have an established mine, and ours is at the north end of this 80-kilometer belt, you start having a more regular approach to exploration. Once we get free cash flow established, we're going to be able to spend very aggressively on exploration. We have almost 5 million ounces of measured and indicated resources defined now. like the potential is many multiples of it if you look at other greenstone belts, and greenstone belts also tend to be, you know, a few thousand meters in depth with mineralization. All of our resources are in the first 500 meters.
Oh.
And it's not
So
that
still
nobody
a lot of room.
exactly, and it's not that nobody thought to explore significantly below that. It's just when you're exploring remotely, you do what you need to do to get a mine established, and then once you have the mine established, then you take the next steps, and that's what we're doing right now, taking the next steps. The second mine is called Madrid, 7 or 8 kilometers south of Doris. The third one is called Boston, 70 kilometers south of Doris. Madrid is meant to come in 2020. Boston meant to come in 2022. But one of the things is we have a study that's about 4 years old. It was used for our IPO. It's a totally valid study, but it may not be the best way of developing these mines. Previous owners have looked at open pit on Madrid and Boston. We'll open that back up and take a look and see if there's a better project that would come with that. Madrid, it could be developed rather than totally underground the way it is now. Maybe the south is done by underground and the north part of the deposit, you know, becomes a pit. We have flexibility to look at these things. Boston has 2 million ounces resources. There's an extraordinary potential to grow Boston. My hope is that this winter we'll do an exploration program on Boston, not yet budgeted, where we'll be able to step out onto the ice around the small peninsula, and be able to test a little bit more of the extent of it. And it's really interesting strategically because the ability for us to grow scale at Boston will trigger other strategic decisions. So, for example, our people may determine that if we hit 4 or 5 million ounces at Boston and have some sort of confidence on regional targets, that it may justify having a full standalone processing facility in the south. Those are the things that we need to look at, and you could, you know, we're meant to dream because, you know, as a management team, we're meant to find the boldest opportunities for our shareholders. If you had processing at the north and the south ends of a belt, it's a lot easier for everything in between to become more. So there's this great long-term value potential once we get through the challenges that we have now, which are no small challenges, but I think we got the right people to get through them. And I don't think our investors are quite ready to pick their head up and look at the future the way the executives are required to. But I think once we prove that we can operate and we get things sorted out at the mill, I don't think anybody buys our stock for current operations. They all have to have some belief in the upside potential. That will become into greater focus.
Absolutely. Let's assume everything goes now well. You are in production. About what costs we are talking? Let's say AISC. What would be a first annual run rate?
Yeah. So
just roughly. I know it's hard to say.
So we have a.
But you must have a plan in mind.
We have a technical study that's filed, and I think the life of mine average is something like 180,000 ounces a year. And the all-in sustaining cost is about $800 an ounce.
So nice margin already then.
Yeah, it's a study that's about 4 years old.
No, I mean, sorry, already with the current gold prices.
For sure. There's a great margin that's in there, and that's the study. We haven't hit stability in the mine to say this is what
it's a bit too early.
This is what we think our costs are going to be on an ongoing basis. But we're operating in the north, right? So there's a significant amount of fixed costs that go with being there.
Of course,
so as we ramp up in scale, that will help us. So we have 1,000 tons per day running in the mill now. By the end of the year, we're looking at getting our capacity to 2,000 tons per day in the mill. We're looking at permitting of the full belt to be at 6,000 tons per day. So as we get that greater scale, that's going to have a big impact on the overall cost picture. And obviously, it's expensive to run only diesel power. It's expensive to have a fly-in, fly-out camp with 270 people up there. Yeah. But when you have high-grade deposits, that grade justifies the additional costs and drives the margin.
Absolutely. Let's say on a longer term picture, as we are talking now about like 3 mines, right? What would be your, let's say, your longer term objective? Do we talk about like 200,000-300,000 ounces a year then, or what is it?
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly dream to that and larger numbers. Yeah. I would say we're going to do whatever makes the most money. We're not necessarily the ounces, but whatever makes the most money. And for us, sustainability is very important. We have our host community, Inuit communities. They're great hosts for us. They're very important to our project, and the shared goal that we and our hosts have is that we're mining on this property for 50 years or more, right? Because there'll be a tremendous amount of value for shareholders if we're running on the belt for more than 50 years. And the impact on the local communities will be maximized if it's not just this proportion of jobs, but it's that proportion of jobs times 50, right? Yep. So we think about the annual run rates that we can get to, but we're also thinking about the total size of the resource and the number of 3 mines. We find other deposits which aren't outcropping, but there's lots of targets for them. We could have a 4th, a 5th, a 6th mine. Yeah. The mines we have now that are drilled to 500 meters, who knows how far they go, right? So
no question. Yeah. Absolutely. Last question. Let's talk shortly about the financial situation. I mean, when you have hiccups like that, can you overcome that also financially, or are you a little bit, I wouldn't say under pressure, but do you have enough money to sustain that?
Yeah, you know what? There is some pressure. Part of that pressure is that we have a large restricted cash balance, $42 million at the end of last year, and that restricted cash balance is backing our environmental obligations. So we have cash collateralized LCs. We'd like to replace those with surety bonds, and surety bonds are every bit as secure as an LC, but it's new ground, so we have to spend time with the regulators. We need some independent parties to go through and vet for them. They're acting reasonably that they are in fact a reasonable substitute. That would free up $25 or $30 million from the restricted cash balance, and that's a number that would only grow as we develop more mines. We'd love to use that capital, not just a buffer, but more importantly, to be able to more aggressively spend on exploration. We have a working capital issue with our mine. Because we're remote, we have a sea lift every year that brings in supplies, and one of those is our bulk diesel. So we will spend about $20 million on bulk diesel. If we have an opportunity to manage that by someone else owning the diesel, and we pay for it as we consume it, that'll be a lot better working capital management for us than paying up front. We have a high cost of capital at the current share price, and so it's expensive for us to lock our cash up in bank accounts.
Absolutely, yeah,
or excess working capital, right? Yeah. So we're trying to balance the rate of investment we have and the sensitivity to dilution that our shareholders have.
Definitely.
So we're trying to find the right balance.
Okay, perfect. Well, Jason, thank you very much for that. It was a great update.
Thank you.
All the best to really overcome everything as fast as possible. And yeah, we want to see then really nice production out of Nunavut.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank
All right.
you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it was Jason Neal, the president and CEO of TMAC Resources, and you heard it. We were talking about also some issues which can, of course, occur when you are mining or starting a mine, and it's always important that companies are not hiding. They have to talk about it and explain what they are doing to overcome that. I think Jason quite well explained it, that they will make it here through 2018. The company has still a lot of cash, thank God, even if it's a little bit restricted, but I would say, yeah, 3 mines they could develop here really in the next years, and maybe mines number 4 and 5 are possible. They have a really large land package. It's elephant territory for sure, and with 20 grams as a grade for gold, that's a fantastic grade to work on. And yeah, it's still a great mining place in Canada. So I would say check out the company. Thanks for watching us. Bye bye from Zurich.